Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Blaze, and today we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and what I think looks to be the outlook for their season, some activity in the off season, and so let's get to it. So I guess first off, we know that Kellen Moore is no longer the Cowboys offensive coordinator. He's down in San Diego. He's with the LA Chargers. So we're going to find out if what was speculated is true. Was Kellen Moore holding the offense back, or is he as good as some people say he is? We're going to find that out. Was it Prescott or was it Kellen? More on Prescott, of course, here in a bit. So Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, and then taking his place is Brian Schottenheimer, and so we'll see how he works the offense. We know that Mike McCarthy is going to be calling the plays, so that's going to be taken off of the OC's job title right off the bat. And as far as the offense goes, we know that they've picked up wide receiver Brandon Cooks. And Brandon Cooks, he just simply produces no matter where he's at. It's really surprising to me that he hasn't been picked up by a team and just made to stay there. But he's been bouncing around for the last few years, and now he's with Dallas. I think he's with Dallas not only because he's a really good receiver and he just produces 1,000 yards plus no matter where he's at, but he's going to take the pressure off of CeeDee Lamb, so that hopefully CD will become the receiver that everybody hoped he would be after he was drafted. So we've got CD, Cooks, and Gallup, and that's a pretty good receiving core. So there's no issues with any kind of excuse at all as far as the receivers go, because they've got them a plenty, and then that's not even counting the other two or three they're gonna be on the roster. So we hope to see CeeDee Lamb improvement and become worthy of that number 88. And we've seen the departure of Zeke Elliott. That's a good thing. His production continues to drop year after year. So we'll see what he does with New England. Probably going to be one of those short yardage guys, and everybody knows that that's what he's best at anymore. You see him hopefully get, they want him on the goal line. He can get that extra 1-2 punch it in yards. Let's see. We know that the draft also brought in Mozzie Smith out of Michigan, the defensive tackle. His rookie season, the guy's 6'3", he weighs 323 pounds, and they're hoping he can be that run stuffer that they've been missing. Because everybody knows the secondary is pretty good. They can get burnt, but they're pretty good. The defense overall is pretty good, but you can run on these Dallas Cowboys, and are hoping that this rookie, even though he's only a rookie, that he'll be able to slow that up and shore up that the line. So I'm going to say this outright. I think McCarthy, if he doesn't make a conference championship this year, I look to Dan Quinn to be the new head coach next year. It's a make or break season for him. I think it's a make or break season again, also for Prescott. Personally, I have a vote of no confidence for either Prescott nor McCarthy. Gave him a chance all on board in the beginning. Prescott with Garrett. I mean, he looked like he was doing really well. I was totally on board with Prescott. Now he's going into his 8th season and still can't get to a conference title game, much less a Super Bowl. So I think we've seen the very best out of Prescott that we're going to see. We've seen him have everything he needs, a great offensive line, great running back, receivers. His biggest problem is he chokes. He doesn't have enough talent to get this team over the hump enough to reach the conference title game and try to have a compete for a Super Bowl. we've seen the best we're going to see out of him, and I don't think we're going to see him get any better. Last year he missed 5 games and still was tied for most interceptions by a quarterback, tied with Davis Mills at New Orleans, and he missed 5 games. He's, in my opinion, just not the guy. But we know that Jerry Jones loves to cultivate his own guys, and he'll stay with them until even more so of the bitter end. We dealt with Jason Garrett for 5 years longer than we needed to. He was there for a decade. It's crazy. Dan Quinn is the heir apparent. It seems to be pretty obvious, since he could have had, and some people argue it, that's fine. I believe he could have had coaching jobs somewhere else. Jerry's paying him to stay because he wants him in that head coaching job after McCarthy shows that he just doesn't have it. He tried to reinvent himself. Kudos for that. But his experiment just didn't work. And yes, I understand. People will argue 2-12 back-to-back 12-5 seasons. Yeah, the numbers look good. That number looks good. But it still hasn't translated to a conference title game, much less a Super Bowl. And that number is the one that really counts. It's what everybody's measured by. How many Super Bowls do you have? Have you been there? Did you win it? Did you at least get there? They haven't sniffed it. 20, going on 28 years. Nearly 3 decades. And so, probably some more small changes. Oh, there's this one too. I hear a lot about the Cowboys own this division. We run this division. The Cowboys run this division. It goes through Dallas. The NFC East goes through Dallas. Well, I saw a thing here recently. The last 20 years, the division winners for the last 20 years, and so the Redskins, and yeah, I call them the Redskins. I'm Native American myself. It's, in my opinion, wrong to have changed their name. I think that was a personal vendetta from somebody else towards Dan Snyder. But that's another story. But the Redskins, they've won the division 3 times in the last 20 years. The New York Giants have won the division 3 times in the last 20 years, much less 2 Super Bowls. The Cowboys have won the division 6 times. Excuse me. And no conference title appearances, but they have won the division 6 times. Philadelphia, who has been to the Super Bowl 3 times, won once, and they have won the division 8 times. So let's recap that real quick a little bit. Washington, division champs 3 times. Giants, division champions 3 times. Dallas, division champions 6 times. Philly, division champions 8 times. I get it. You want to believe that the division is owned and operates through Dallas, but the numbers say that Philly has been the more dominant team in the last 2 decades. And it is also true that no team in the last 20 years have won the division in back-to-back seasons. I think that's going to change this year. Philly's going to win the division. Dallas will take 2nd place. The only question is Philly going to be the number 1 or number 2 seed? We're going to finally see both teams, or should anyway, providing Prescott stays healthy. And Jalen Hurts got dinged for a little bit last year. That should be different this year. Both teams we expect will be as healthy as they can be when they face off. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia sweeps that series. I would not be shocked. So, and with that, yeah, the division doesn't go through Dallas, sorry. I'd like to think that too, but it just doesn't. And so on from there, let's hit up the Cowboys' schedule for the season. I know everybody's probably figuring, or many somebodies are figuring, that the Cowboys will probably hit like 12-5, maybe 13-4, or who knows, maybe 15-3. So, but let's take a look at this. We also have to take this with a piece of salt, in meaning that Dak Prescott doesn't beat good teams. He's good at in middle of the road teams most of the time. Bad teams, yeah, he'll beat them. He'll make them look bad. He'll make himself look really good. But he doesn't beat teams that were in he doesn't beat playoff teams. So with that, week 1, Cowboys at Giants. That should be a win for Dallas. And then week 2, we've got the Jets with the newly acquired Aaron Rodgers going to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers has never lost to the Dallas Cowboys. The Jets have this really good defense. They've got the secret sauce. And the biggest question with the Jets is their offensive line, which I'm pretty sure, any Cowboys fan is going to hope that the pass rush will use that to their advantage, and most likely so to at least some degree. But I think the Jets win that, so that's a loss for the Cowboys, unless Aaron falters and loses his first to Dallas. But I'm going to give that as a loss to the Cowboys. Start off the season 1-1. Week 3, Cowboys at the Cardinals, and win Cowboys. That's a victory for the Cowboys, I believe. And then week 4, we see the New England Patriots traveling to Dallas, and they'll give the Cowboys some trouble, but I see Dallas winning that game at home. Isn't it ironic that the Cowboys play better away than they do at home? They really should, I think, change the name from AT&T Stadium. AT&T, I get it. They did their thing. They have their logo on there. Do like Kansas City did. Yeah, the Gaia, I'm not sure I don't remember how it's pronounced. It's Gaia Stadium. But they still keep the name Arrowhead. Dallas, go back and call it Texas Stadium. Bring that mystique back. So week 5, Dallas at the 49ers. 49ers win, I'm afraid to say. 49ers over Dallas. And then things don't get any easier with Dallas with a second road trip to visit the LA Chargers and Justin Herbert. And that's a playoff team. That's a tough team. Great quarterback. Chargers win. That's a loss for Dallas. And in week 7, Cowboys go into their bye week. And I have the Cowboys at their bye week at 3-3. And then the Rams at Dallas. Now, the Rams coming off a really tough year. The Super Bowl hangover hit them hard. And they could win that game. Dallas doesn't play as well as they do at home, like they do on the road. But I'm going to give that as a win for the home team anyway. Dallas beats the Rams. I had that the other way around. I had Rams beating Dallas, then changed my mind, because we haven't seen what... We know the Rams are going to come back. I think they're going to. But I'll give the Cowboys the benefit of the doubt. That's one of those question mark games. It could go either way, but I'll give it to Dallas today. Then next week, week 9, Dallas at Philadelphia. And I give the win to Philly. The Eagles win. Next week, week 10, Giants at Dallas. That's a win for the Cowboys. The following week, week 11, Dallas at Carolina. I believe that's a win for Dallas. Redskins at Dallas. That's a win for the Cowboys. They're sitting there going on a run now. Seattle at Dallas, and that should be a win for the Cowboys. Seattle's going to be tough, but Dallas should be able to win that. And then Philly at Dallas. Here's where it gets a little murky. I believe the Philly can and most likely will sweep the Cowboys in this season, but I'm going to give the win to Dallas anyway. And then week 15, Dallas at Buffalo. I believe that's a loss. Buffalo wins that. And Dallas at Miami. That, as long as Tua is healthy, that should be a loss. If Tua is not healthy, that's a Cowboys win. But if Miami's at full strength or close to it, their quarterback's healthy, that's a win for the Dolphins, I believe. And then week 17 matchup, Detroit at Dallas. Detroit, watch them. They are going to be really something to look at this season. They're going to be more improved. This is a playoff team, and I believe they go to Dallas and beat Dallas at home. And to round out the season, week 18, Dallas at Washington, and that's a win for the Cowboys. And so I have the Cowboys, looks like, at 11-6 on the season. A little bit different than last year, and there's a couple of games here that are very question marks. That Miami game's one of them. Buffalo is, because how are they going to... They've got that new offensive coordinator going into a second season. They've got to make some adjustments. And the Rams, that's a question mark game. But I'll give the Cowboys 11-6 on the season. And probably enough with the NFC not being as tough as the AFC right now. Enough to qualify for the playoffs. And so with that, wrap things up. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. Take care and enjoy. Bye-bye.